Hello, my name's Jamie, and I'm a co-founder of Freely Give and a maintainer of the AI module and Drupal CMS AI track. I've got Andrew Belcher, who is my business partner, also a co-founder of Freely Give with me. How's it going?
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Claude Code. There's a lot of people excited by it in the Drupal community. We're going to show you a little bit of stuff about like Claude Code, how it works, and some things that we've made to little sort of easy things to get started with Claude Code a little bit easier. So now the first thing is this is Claude Code. It is not the same as Claude. It is some software that runs in your command line that allows you to kind of prompt it, but instead of a chatbot, it can actually run a whole bunch of commands on your machine, and actually loop and try stuff out and run tests, etc. Write code, commit things. So a lot of stuff in it. There's a lot of tools that we can use. There's like AI agents inside an IDE. There's Copilot. What I think has been quite exciting about this is it works really well and it's incredibly easy to get going. So normally you'll just go and type in this command and get set up. But because in Drupal we like to work in DDev, we've got some tools to help you get set up a bit quicker. The reason why we were talking about this is this module came along. So Grazmash came up to me at Atlanta, DrupalCon Atlanta, only a couple of weeks ago, and was just like, we have this project that, was like, many 100 hours, and people had quoted quite a lot of money to build this thing. And he thought, what if we just try it with AI? And instead of taking like 600 hours, he actually built this in a couple of days. And it's here. It's on Drupal.org. You can try and use it. You can look at the code. There's quite a lot of people that have actually seen this code and checked it and seen it work. It was a good 4-page prompt. It needed some extreme amounts of technical architecture and exploring the prompt itself to get it to do the right thing. So there's still some art to getting Claude Code to do Drupal modules and Drupal code well. But this really changed everything, because now it's like, if you can't get Claude Code to work, that's because you're not doing a good enough job with the prompts. Whereas before we didn't really know if AI could actually write anything. And now it can. There are now modules on Drupal.org where a lot of the code is written by AI and it works, and it has been co-signed by many people. So what we're going to do today is we've got something which, if you've seen my videos before, we have a way of orchestrating things using Kanban. And there's agents, there's these project manager agents where you can say, like, write me some poems about Drupal, and it will create tasks, and then the agents will like move around. And this is on Drupal 10, and we want to upgrade it to the latest version. But also, we kind of thought, with Experience Builder moving to React, wouldn't it be nicer if we could actually do something in React? So we went to AI, and Andrew created something in, what, Andrew, was it about an hour?
About now.
And it took about an hour. It's not perfect, obviously. It costs about $15, what you can see here. But we've got something where stuff can move around. If I click here, we've got a nice like bar that pops up where I can see information about it. And so it's now in a much more modern framework. It's quite exciting. I think particularly converting UIs into React is one of the things that it's especially good at. Stuff to do with architecture, less so. You have to do a lot of the work yourself, but stuff to do with where the architecture is kind of obvious. You want to move a UI you've already got from one thing to the other. This is fantastic. So what we have is Claude Code. So Andrew, what Andrew's going to do is talk me through how to get started.
Cool. So this is a Drupal package that effectively just contains some scaffolding information for some Drupal specific guidance for Claude. So in particular, like Claude.md, we've got ideas of adding some additional bits in the future, like / commands that interact with Drupal a bit more directly. But for now, it's got this Claude.md that we've kind of curated and set up to try and give Claude the best guidance that we can at how to interact. So if you look at the project page, you can see there's some installation steps. So the first, so it's basically there's two commands under there. The first of them is to allow Claude Code to scaffold, and then the second one is to actually install it. If you're doing this in a DDev project and you're not inside the DDev container, both those commands need to be prefixed with DDev.
Cool.
So if you do them one at a time, prefixing them with DDEV.
Right. Here we go. So, oh yeah, I'm going to copy and paste that in the DDEV. That's right.
Yep. I write put a colon at dev at the end, and that will just allow it to dev version. Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll get a stable release out so that we don't need that in the future. And as you can see, what it's done is it's copied that Claude.md into the project root.
Cool. Now, Claude.md is a file that is kind of like the instructions. So normally when you go into Claude Code, you're going to type in /init. It will look through your code base and it'll create its own Claude.md. And it'll say things like you should use the Drupal way and the coding standards, etc. And it's just a file. It's just something that tells Claude how to operate, what coding standards you like and how to do things. And so what we thought we would do is, one thing Grasmek said to us was that he found asking it to regularly commit things was really good. We found that it doesn't know that it's in DDEV, and so you had to ask it to do things in DDEV. If you've seen Dries' recent video about Claude Code, you see that the first thing he did was tell it that it's in DDEV. And so this kind of speeds things up a little bit. We've got a Claude.md file that's already there. Should we nano into it and show it off?
Yeah.
What do I do? Just nano.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's telling you how to build things, how to import things, what kind of command you're going to use. Now, this is a bit different. You can see DDEV isn't there because we're also going to, how do I escape? Yeah, we're also going to get the DDEV extensions in, aren't we? We haven't done that yet.
No, we haven't done that yet. So if we go back to the project page, if you're using DDEV, we've actually added in a DDEV add-on. And so this DDEV add-on will enable you setting up Claude Code inside the DDEV container, which has some nice security enhancements because it's not able to access lots of things in the system, all isolated within the project, but also makes it a bit easier for it to interact with Drush and various other commands inside the container. So if you jump back to your terminal and run that command, and then I've just realized we've missed a step on the install process, which is that we need to do a DDEV restart.
Right.
So specifically what's happening here is we've now got some adjustments to the Docker file for the container where we're going to pre-install the Claude Code library. We also installed the GitLab CLI, which means that you can kind of interact, Claude Code can interact with GitLab, and we might add other similar things in the future as well. The other thing you'll see is that there's also some commands and some git ignores and some configuration bits handled. So often inside a container, you have issues with, oh, well, is my configuration going to be retained if I restart the container? So all of that's handled. So now it's restarted. If you type DDEV Claude, it will start up Claude inside the DDEV container.
So this is now Claude Code. What do I want to do?
Yeah, so you can choose your mode, and then you will need to authenticate with the Anthropic console, which is done via opening up browser. Yeah, so you copy that and paste it into the terminal.
Something I can't show on screen.
Probably best not to.
Okay, well, I'll turn this off so you can see the next video. Yeah. So now it is, you don't have to play around with API keys, which is kind of nice. But the negative of it is it does just start doing stuff and it can cost quite a bit of money. The kind of money runs away with it. Yep. And it can make mistakes, research, prompt injection risks. I'm going to say yes to everything here. Okay, so now we're in Claude Code and we can start writing things. So a lot of the time you do /init. I'm just going to say, can you tell me about this code base? And the kind of commands it will start running is it can do what grep, it can look at particular files, it can write things, it can go in and download stuff. It's got a web browser in it, so it can actually look at pages to pull things in. One dream we have is a proper MCP server. I won't go into loads of detail exactly what MCP is, but everyone's talking about it right now, sort of like the rest of AI. So we are hoping to create like a Drupal MCP server that is for the Drupal documentation. And so there's going to be a clear place where Claude can like visit to find more information about the Drupal's architecture. Cool. So it knows we've got Drupal. Yeah. So what do we want to try and do for now?
Should we try creating a custom entity type?
Yeah. Okay. Let's go and do that. Oh, we can also get into install the AI module. It's quite fun. It can actually go and find things. So can you go and find and install the AI module for me? One thing we did want to do is like make an AI agent in the project browser to make it easier to find and install modules and search for them. And I still think there'll be some benefits to doing it in Drupal, but you can see it's saying, do you want to proceed with these commands? And I'm going to go yes and don't ask again. But actually, it can do quite a lot of the finding itself. It's not perfect because of the fact that it's kind of, it doesn't really understand Drupal yet. It's kind of browsing the web. What I have found is sometimes I will type in something and gets the module name wrong. So that's something it can do. Yeah, and we could do other things like create entities, etc. But you can now see the core of it. What we're going to do is in that the mini Kanban upgrade, Andrew's got a longer video. It's about an hour long showing you the upgrade process and everything he did. But we thought we'd quickly show you two little examples of the things that it can do. So the first one's going to be a time when it got something wrong and Andrew had to fix it. And the second time is going to be time when it kind of did it itself. So we've got things up there now. So Andrew, do you want to explain this? So explain what's on the screen first and then what you did, because you stopped it, didn't you?
Yes. So what was happening here is this is fairly far into it starting to set things up. So it had created a React project inside the module, and it had now got to the point where we wanted to kind of build the project so that we could see it working. So I asked it to build the project, started off with an install, and that install immediately failed due to conflicts between the version of React that it defined in the project and the version of React that the React Kanban project depends on. So what effectively then ended up happening is it got stuck in a bit of a loop trying to figure out how to resolve that conflict. And it wasn't able to work it out itself. It kept trying to do things like clear all of its node caches and try reinstalling, remove node models and try reinstalling, and various other things like that. And it wasn't making any progress. So I then had to step in and say, remove the explicit project level dependency and then let it install from the version in mini Kanban, in React Kanban. Once I gave that instruction, obviously it did the first part, tried to then install. It still had a conflict on some React test dependencies that were explicit, but then it understood what it needed to do to try and solve the problem. So I was then able to solve the kind of test dependency and remove itself. And then the eventual result is it managed to get npm install working. So the package itself depends on React 17, where it did install.
Cool. So I'm going to share my screen with you, Andrew, so you can see what it's doing. Okay, Andrew, you can see it. See what it's doing now, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the instruction to remove the explicit dependency.
Yeah. And this is it's not fast. From what I've heard, some people will do things like write really long prompts and just leave it on overnight. If you type in /cost, it will show you how much it's cost, but only in that session. So once you leave, that's gone. It's definitely not production ready for like rolling out on big teams. That it's a bit hard to control exactly how much budget you're going to give to certain teams in over periods of time. The thing's not perfect about it. You can only use Claude, whereas we've heard a lot about Gemini's new model is really good for coding at the moment. So there's another system called Code, which is an open source version of this, like a sort of agentic thing that works inside an IDE, works with VS Code, which is also open source. We haven't explored that, but that would be something that we really want to look at. A lot of people are using Cursor, which is proprietary, but it's cheaper because you just pay like a fee. And then there's already some Drupal plugins for that, so it understands Drupal a bit better. So there's a few different approaches to this.
One by one.
So Andrew, is it? Yeah. Do you want to explain when it starts fixing it itself?
Yeah. So this is where it's now removing the explicit dependency. It's now going to try and reinstall. And you can see on the code on the left, it's now got a node module, so it's obviously got a little bit further along the way. And you can see it's then managed to get all the way through that. So the next thing we do is interesting because this then shows an example of it fixing itself. So when we then start to try and run build, it then hits an issue in the build where, as you can see at the top there, it's got an import that's not correct. In this case, it actually manages to just fix it itself. So it gets the error message out of the build command, works out what the problem is, goes back in, modifies the code, reruns the build again. I think here, from memory, it might have a couple little loops to fix things, but there you go. So that's the second one. Another missing import. So missing imports, incorrect imports is actually one of the things that quite commonly gets wrong. I think it's because of the way it handles the context of what it's writing and adjusting. So it's putting some code that's further down in the file that doesn't necessarily import things that kind of would go at the top of the file. But what it is quite good at is when it then tries to use that code item, it can see the error and fix itself quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, what we found is, out of the box, it doesn't have like PHP unit in it. So I think we've got a few things. I think in this version that have we got PHP unit coming in? Or is that something you have to put effort into bringing?
You would need to add the Drupal core dev dependency to support PHP unit and coding standards and PHP stand-in for that.
Yeah, and we've managed to get to read the logs. In theory, it's supposed to be able to actually like click around on the site. And so, but I haven't actually managed to get that working yet. Have you? You haven't yet, Andrew, where it can actually like control the browser and click around a bit.
I've seen it mentioned doing things like that, but I didn't look at it when it's actually running that as in kind of deep in that kind of hour-long session. I think it did significantly, but most of the success I had with it handling things like that was where I went and clicked on a page, it got an error. All I had to do was tell it that I got an error, and it would know to look at Watchdog to get hold of the DB log and find the error, and then it could go about correcting it itself. So it didn't require much interaction from me for it to start working its way through those problems.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot for listening to this and watching this video. It's getting going. This is a very early look into Claude Code and trying to get it working well with Drupal. We're going to be doing a lot more and exploring what it's good at, what it's not so good at. I'm not a dev, so I did try just upgrading this mini Kanban module myself. I also tried fixing some bug in an issue queue. And unfortunately for that one, I needed help from devs. That took longer than it would have been if the devs just fixed it themselves because of architectural issues. It could actually fix the problem, but it would put the fix in like in the most hacky-ish edge version of the module. Like put it in this module in a way it doesn't scale. And so it needed a little bit of thought in terms of the architecture, like where that code should go. But it was true that I had a bug. I had some white screens. I got to Claude Code, and as a non-dev, I could make it so that the site was not white screening anymore, and the bug was working. It was just not the best way. Whereas this React thing, I think, Andrew, you do think has actually saved you time. Is that right?
It's definitely saved me time in getting things initially set up. I think one of my things that I'll need to explore is obviously when you're building something from scratch, you gain a lot of knowledge about how it's built. So then when you come to go back into it and fix bugs or add additions, you've got a lot of foundational knowledge of exactly how it's implemented. But I think things like that will be a different approach that's needed when you're using Claude Code.
Cool. Yeah. And I think what's also going to be really good for me is I want to get into helping Claude Code write documentation. And if it's not perfect, it might make me like understand the code structure a bit more, understand what's going on as a non-developer. So I think documentation is a really cool area where I think it's going to help us. So thanks a lot for listening. We're free to give, freetogive.io, and we're on #AI on the Drupal Slack all the time. So if you want to get involved or contribute changes to the Claude Code stuff, or explore things like root code, or talk about your experiences with this stuff, feel free to get in touch.